Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Formula One podcast, straight to the apex. The guys are here, they're talking races gone, races to come, all the race news, all the race previews, all the race reviews. How much more racing can you fit into a podcast? I ask you that. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave us a review where you can leave a review. Share the podcast around. That's what it's all about. Tell people how much you love the podcast. Right, enough from me. Over to these guys. So here we go. This is CookieCast, straight to the apex.
Yo. Welcome to Season 2 of Straight to the Apex, Episode 11. I'm your host, T-Dog. Well, where do I start? Canadian, GP, Gilles Villeneuve circuit. I'm joined by my colleagues, my friends, James and Mark. How are you?
This is the big that thing we play now, James, in this podcast. It's all about one man.
What, just sit? I think what we normally have to do when Tony leads is just kind of sit here and just hope for the best. And a lot of the time, also probably like correct him. I mean, normally how I'd start is by introducing us all and then do a big shout out to CookieCast. But well, you wanted to go straight into the Canadian Grand Prix there, T-Dog.
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be here without, as you mentioned, CookieCast and Andy. Thank you so much for all your help and everything, pretty much. Available on YouTube and all your streaming services. I see that you've changed position today, James. Where are you tuning in from?
Oh, just in the living room. We got all the garden furniture out. We had a barbecue. I think that's like the third barbecue I've had in 4 days. I've had a lot of meat. So yeah, garden furniture. Also, Charlie says you're gonna sit out there and chill. I was tempted to go out there and record as well, but I didn't want to tempt fate and have like a bird shit on my head halfway through and have it all live on YouTube.
That would be nice. That would have been funny and comedy value for the podcast.
Oh, it would have been good, but I need to leave that to Tony.
That's less about the shit and more about the Canadian Grand Prix. I would say, in the words of Ted Kravis from Sky Sports, it was quality from start to finish. What did you guys think?
Really enjoyed it. Really good race, good qualifying. I think there's lots to talk about, which is nice because the last couple of races it's just been that kind of.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Mark?
I'm absolutely gobsmacked because I thought qualifying was absolutely fantastic. Loved it. One of the best qualifyings we've had this season. I thought the Grand Prix was a bit boring.
Really?
Yeah. Don't think. Yeah, a fair few things happened. I mean, one of them I'm sure you'll want to talk about at length again. But Canada is normally really good track, a really good race. And I think compared to other Canadian Grand Prix, it was just meh.
Wow.
So I'm intrigued to see what you two have got.
You know what? Yeah. I suppose if you're watching the Canadian Grand Prix expecting the usual, a lot of safety cars, potential red flags and all that kind of stuff, then yeah. I think the biggest disappointment this year was it absolutely hied it down in quali. And we was probably all hoping it was going to be the same for the race. and it was just a complete turnaround. So much so that none of the drivers, could pretty much handle the track. I mean, I think it was Max. I'm sure it was Max who actually said, "Yeah, Max was going on about his tyres." It was one of the commentators who started saying that the track is green, because of all the rain. It's washed everything off, so it's got to go through its full evolution again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought it was all right.
I think it had a bit of everything. Well, let it smolder just there for a second. And why don't we start with the news?
Yeah.
Has anybody got any news?
I've got a few things, James. Have you got anything?
I've got a few talking points from the race. I haven't really seen much news since the race. The only other thing that I've really seen is that Verstappen's race suit from Canada is getting sold for, I can't remember the name of the charity now, like Winged Angel or something like that.
Right.
Interesting. I've got a few bits, to be honest. A few random stuff. Good talking points. F1 to limit and change the celebrity grid access. And this has come from the fiasco in Australia with people getting on the track afterwards, safety, and also a Neymar scenario. There was a formation lap and he was still on the grass for some reason.
Well, it's Neymar.
Well,
yeah.
I think we've touched on this lightly before. It is a fiasco and it's getting worse and worse. Random people who have got a following as such that are being invited literally just to increase its appeal. I think, are we at a ceiling? Are we right to change the grid access, Mark?
They should all have a clause in the contract saying they have to speak to Martin Brundle, and Martin Brundle has to know who they are for them to be allowed on the grid. This week we had Gordon Ramsay. He's a bona fide petrol head. Not got a problem with him. These influencers and everything, it's a load of bollocks, but unfortunately that's the way life's going. So they get access via the media and everything. I mean, at the end of the day, if we got access from this little podcast, then I wouldn't turn it down. So,
but you're a fan. You're a fan.
Yeah. But these might
some of these people are. I don't think they are, Mark. And this pisses me off, and I feel passionate about it. They're suddenly a fan when they get grid access, and then you see it all over their social media. When it's 3 weeks later, and the F1's on again, and they haven't got grid access, or they're nowhere near it, suddenly they're somewhere else promoting a different event, and they're saying absolutely jack shit.
It's a bit like. I don't know. I'm just going to spitball here. It's a bit like having a presenter of let's go with, I don't know, an F1 podcast. Talks about a lot of stuff and everything else. Always seems to have a nap though during race time.
Still a fan though.
Still a fan.
Still a fan.
I mean, I think your wife's the fan. Do you think, though, that this is the way the owners are going to get it onto these people's social medias because they've got a big following and get the F1 name out there? Like, I had a mate of mine who I used to work with, play football with him every Thursday, never, ever, ever talked to me about Formula One, ever, because he didn't like it. And he said, I watched Drive to Survive. That Christian Horner's a prick, isn't he? And I was like, wow, yeah, he is. But this guy is football, rugby league mad, NFL mad, never, ever been interested in Formula One. And now he's watching it through Drive to Survive. So is this where the influencers are coming, get it on their socials, spread the word? A bit like, I don't know, you should do for this podcast that we keep hounding you about.
You know what? I absolutely agree. But it's got to be done right. the best way of getting your business out there is promoting it as much as you can. You know, your Netflix documentaries, Drive to Survive, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, your influencers especially. I mean, don't get me wrong, they annoyed the shit out of me.
We're
when
all
they're
men.
coming on, they go, hi guys, it's your favourite influencer, Tabitha. Big loves and hugs to everybody. But hey, I'm here. I'm at F1, Miami F1. Woo! I'm with girlfriend and all that shit. But they've got like 1.5 million fucking followers.
Yeah. Well,
And it
shout
does
out Tabitha.
push it out there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Massive shout out to Tabitha. You know,
Get
big
yourself
loves
on
and
the podcast. Get yourself on this podcast. Get in touch.
Getting that name.
We'll get you on.
It's getting the brand out there, isn't it? Like you say, I think maybe Formula One are using these people a little bit and saying, come to the race. And it's almost like free advertising. So
yeah, it's clever, but do it right. I mean, the only thing I don't want is like the World Cup final. Was it the World Cup final? And Salt Bay somehow managed to get out on the pitch.
Yeah.
And got it. Team was holding on to the trophy and everything else. And most of the time, the players are looking at him as if to go, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
At first, I thought he'd been invited out, but then when you see the players' reactions, like, no, he's just genuinely got out there on the pitch just to promote himself. It's like,
I think Mark hits it on the head. I think this is the way the world is going.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that we don't even know about, but kids know about them, teenagers know about them, and it's not just a few, it's like thousands and millions. And people are looking to these people.
What it is, mate, and I'm going to upset you here, we're old.
Yeah, we are.
And you can officially call yourself old now, Tony.
No,
you know,
no.
You're 30 plus one. You know, we can see the grey coming through in the beard.
No.
Yeah. You are. You're old.
On a night out, do you ever look at somebody else who walks in and the first thing you think is, oh, she's going to catch a death of cold? Or something like, if I was sent out dressed like that, I'd be getting killed by my mum and all that. Yeah, you're old.
DJ's a bit loud. Turn it down, pal. You're old.
If you like to have a nap on a Saturday afternoon during qualifying.
Oh, let's move on.
You're old. No, I'm with you though, mate. It's one of the best naps out there.
But you just flagged it off.
Yeah.
I'm old.
I've got one comment about the race, which I'll leave. Worryingly, Red Bull are now focusing on next year's car.
Yeah, I've got that.
Which is really worrying. And also, Merck have confirmed today they've got 2 big stages of upgrades coming, starting from Silverstone in a few weeks.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see. I don't think they're catching Red Bull, but they're definitely up there with Aston Martin now, for sure. What do you think?
I think they're still a bit behind.
James?
I think they still are a bit behind. They're giving a fight now to Aston Martin, absolutely.
Yeah.
And at one point during the race, I was kind of sitting there thinking, you know what? You're not far. When Hamilton was second, I was sitting there going, you're not a million miles away from him like you normally are. And I was sitting there thinking, have they just about done it? But then towards the end of the race, Max hits the sausage curb, gets a bit of a wobbler, and comes straight on the radio, making a laugh and a joke of it, going, "Oh, I nearly knocked myself out there." If he's got the time to laugh at stuff like that and just make a laugh and a joke of it, bearing in mind that is pretty much the wall that if anyone hits, they're done. And he's going to laugh. He knew for a fact he wasn't going anywhere near as fast as he can in that car.
It touches to what Mark said at the start of this season, that Red Bull just taking it a bit steady, like they're not giving it full beans.
He had a bird stuck in his car.
Yeah, he had
the
yeah, I
bed
saw that.
early, and I don't
Really?
Rest in peace, Baird.
Yeah,
Rest in
and
peace, Baird.
I don't know
Yeah.
where if it was
Rest in peace.
in the wing. Well, yeah.
Brake duct, wasn't it?
It was what?
Brake duct, I
Was
think.
it in his brake duct, was it? Right. Well, I know he was carrying a bed literally from like lap 10. And yeah, tweet bed, not
No, one of them.
we're not that type of people.
Oi, oi.
Oh, yeah,
I remember him saying, "I think I hit a bed." At one point,
Yeah, I remember that.
I think I hit a bed, and then heard nothing else about it.
Yeah, no, it was trapped in his car. I honestly think, and this kind of also then begs another question. Red Bull have got so much time in hand on that car. Like Max is just cruising. Like he was like at first, the first couple of laps of the race, for Hamilton's keeping up with him here. Alonso's keeping up with him, great. And then he just suddenly went to like from 1.2 seconds to like 3.8, and you thought he's just got time in hand and can plant his foot when he wants.
You know what? You know what? An example though is Perez at the end, where he just put the softs on and was just like boom, like smashed it, like smashed the fastest lap, like it was nothing.
I still want to talk about Perez in a bit.
Yeah.
I want to touch on the point about Max going from like 1 second to 3 seconds. Was that during the safety car, wasn't it?
So that did happen in the virtual safety car, which I can't. They all do that. Like Lewis has done it, and he's in the lead. So I'm a bit like, yeah, all right, you push it. It was just after the safety car, the virtual safety car come in, and I think it was Martin that said, "Oh."
He went from like 1.8 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he took it down to about 3.6 or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, only way you've done that is that you haven't slowed down straight away like you meant to.
Yeah.
You've gone for like another second. Just to give you that little bit of advantage, but not enough to be caught out.
I honestly think in the hands of Max, that car is currently pushed to about 80% of its capacity.
I was going to say about 80-90%.
He doesn't look like he's. I mean, Max, like I say, Max is a great driver. We all admit it, even though we don't want to. He doesn't look tired after a race. He doesn't look like he's worked hard. It's just a Sunday afternoon drive for him. And to me, that's scary because this penalty was meant to bring him back in. And if they're working on next year's car, we're fucked. We're fucked. Adrian Newey with Tam, what does he do? Produces that type of flaw that we all saw at Monaco. We're fucked.
The other thing as well was that made me laugh was his last pit stop, obviously just after Hamilton and Alonso made theirs. So he had a free pit stop anyway, effectively. But that pit stop, I mean, Red Bull on average do something like, 2.1 seconds, 2.3? They're ridiculously fast. And I think at one point last year, I'm sure they did a bloody sub 2 second pit stop. I'm almost certain they did.
It was a few years ago, yeah. Yeah, before the wheels got bigger, yeah, definitely.
That last one, it was like 2.7. The lads in the pit lane was just like, take it easy on this one, lads.
Yeah.
No need to rush. Just take your time. And it was a fucking leisurely pit stop, and he still came out in front.
I think on the right track, he could start at the back of the grid and still win it easily.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, the way Hulkenberg went backwards.
Was it Miami? He's led for I think the last 200 laps he's had the lead for.
Yeah, scary.
Crazy. Anyway, moving on. There will be a scripted TV series inspired by F1 called...
Is it called Drive to Survive?
It's called One. No. This is about, supposedly, it's a made up team, and there's a family that runs the team, and it's a bit like a drama of how the team does and the things that go on behind the scenes. And Interesting. Adds to the Drive to Survive. Adds to the film that is coming out, and they're making right now. F1 on the up.
Mate, come on! It's season 4 of Ted Lasso, isn't it?
No,
I hope so.
It's gone from the football to that.
What do you? If I starred in the series, what do you think I would play?
Can't really say on this podcast. We're in enough trouble.
Silence. We'll let that marinate for a bit. Any more news?
Nope.
I have Ralph Schumacher believes Leclerc to Aston Martin at the end of the year would be logical. I believe that very unlogical. Please do not come to Aston Martin. Thank you.
No.
Ralph Schumacher.
Yeah, the great Ralph Schumacher.
Oh, I for a minute there, mate. Honestly, I thought you'd just got him mixed up. I was like, oh god, he means Mick. But no, really, Ralph Schumacher.
Yeah.
Logical. What? In place of who? Or just to Aston Martin?
Just to Aston Martin at the end of the year, replacing Stroll, but we've already been there. Or can't replace
we've talked about that. That's never happened.
George Russell lie detector. Did a little bit of a YouTube video for Sky Sports. I don't know if anybody's watched this. Entertaining.
It was on before the race. It was cringy. I wouldn't call it entertaining. It was cringy.
Corny. Yeah.
What was it? Just like Toy Story, where Sid just got a magnifying glass and started burning a hole in his forehead.
It was. Do you know?
It was slightly like.
It really was.
But
yeah.
I've got you, mate. I've tied a giant firework to his back.
The one that stood out for me was, "Are you faster than Lewis Hamilton?" He replied, "Yes," and the lie detector said he was telling the truth. So he believes he's faster than Lewis Hamilton.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
He said, he was asked, "Are you faster than Lewis Hamilton?" And he said, "Now, yes." And the lie detector said he was telling the truth. So he believes that he is faster than Lewis Hamilton right now.
And the lie detector test, because I know one of the questions, he said something and it said he was lying. No, about stealing something. And he went, "I've never stolen anything." And they were saying it was true or
You're lying.
It was lying. And he was like, no, I never have. I'm sorry, does he actually believe that? Wow. I mean, the kid, the more I see him and the more he does stuff like this, the more I do think he's fucking shit. I just don't like him.
Ow. Big claim there. Big claim. You heard it here first on Straight to the Apex. Mark says George Russell shit. Wow.
He is getting annoying.
I think he's
I just hate his posing. It's like, he's like showing off a new watch or something like that.
You mean the pose like that on the walls?
Oh yeah, he's in his little Rio de Janeiro kind of thing. Look, I'm the Redeemer and all this bullshit. No, it's just he's always got his glossy eyes, and it's like, come on, mate, we know you've kicked a puppy at some point in your life.
The scary thing is, what's he done? What has he done to believe his own eye? Like, if you look at the junior formula, I don't think he was stand out, if I'm brutally honest.
I know. I think he can follow instructions, is decent, and is British. So I don't know. He's made it into the Mercedes car. He's not faster than Lewis Hamilton. I don't know where that's come from. I don't understand where his thinking is.
Somewhere in his fucking cowboy wooden head.
Wow.
Yeah. Why? George, have a word with yourself, mate. Look in the mirror. You're not as good as you think you are.
Well, you're good, but you're not 7-time world champion good.
No.
Well, have a look. There's a few other questions, and it made me giggle.
Okay.
Last news is W Series is into administration.
Yeah.
which is I think that's very, very sad, considering the trajectory of F1 right now is skyrocketing. And I think women in cars, in Formula One in general, should be there. Because, and I was thinking about this, and I was watching another Sky Sports YouTube video. I think it was another podcast, actually. When do we see a camera woman? When do we see a woman engineer?
Quite a few in Formula One.
Women engineers?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a woman engineer. We see a lot of strategists.
There's women. I think there's a couple of women in Haas that are in the garage. I think there's another team. There's definitely women in the sport, and this is a very, very dodgy subject to cover.
Yeah.
But if they're good enough, they shouldn't be stopped getting in. If they're good enough, it shouldn't go on sex. If you are good enough, you're getting a Formula One car. Simple as.
I agree with that.
I agree. Very dodgy subject to be talking about, and it's all well and good. These people out there saying, "Oh, have you noticed that there isn't very many female employees in the F1 universe and stuff like that?" Absolutely, fantastic question. However, let's ask the question of: is it a job that they want to be doing? Instead of just saying, "Are these people just employing men?" Maybe ask the question of: is it only men that are applying for these jobs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
Let me put it the other way then. I think they made a comment again on this in this video. On the commentary, and I think we've done it as well, calling a driver a princess. Now, is that a bit derogatory? Thinking about it, it is, isn't it? You won't. And it's so going on what you guys are saying now.
I don't want to talk about this.
On the line.
Don't want to talk about it.
All right, and last thing that I said, I'm going to say, F1 Academy, 150k the driver has to put in, and F1 put in 150k as well. So then that is a team. In the W Series, it was all free. They were paid by trips, there was prize money. Again, I just think we need a women's series, and that needs to be pushed right now, because I think the way F1's going, in 5-10 years' time, it's going to be a lot better in its entirety than just without it. Do you agree?
Can I just say, so as an F1 fan for quite a number of years now, when I first started watching it, every driver was white, male. There was no Japanese. Well, there wasn't. There was no Japanese drivers, no Chinese drivers, no Thai drivers, no multi-race drivers. There was all German, British, Brazilian, white males. I mean, we know through some of the comments that some ex-Brazilian drivers have made that being racist about Lewis. Now you have got a diverse grid. You've got Alex Albon, who's Thai. You've got Zhou Guan Yu. You've got Yuki Tsunoda. You've got Lewis Hamilton himself. You've got, will we find, like football, and it's always talked in football, there may be a driver on the grid that is gay or bisexual or whatever. There is more diverse in the grid, and it's only going to go, like you say, to include females, and that is absolutely fine. But don't push a female in like they did Susie Wolff. I don't think it's good enough.
Yes, I agree. they have to be good enough, not just because they are.
And they tick a box. Yeah.
Yes, 1,000%, 1,000%, 1,000%. James, any more to add on that?
About that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is a very diverse grid nowadays in comparison to what it used to be. Like Mark was saying, there is a chance that there could one of the drivers, could be homosexual, could identify as another gender and stuff like that. We don't know, and they just might not want to come out about it or discuss it or anything else like that. Same in football. You're only now getting football players that are actually coming out with their sexuality and stuff like that because of other generations and stuff like that. Always seen as, you're a football player, you got to be a right good man and all this kind of stuff, and they're not ashamed, but they're afraid of coming out with their sexuality because they know what kind of impact it could have, the kind of judgment that it could have. So, there could be homosexual F1 drivers and stuff like that. And again, absolutely fucking fine with that. I ain't got a single fucking issue with anything like that. And yes, same with women. Yeah, there should be a women's series. Absolutely. But like you just said as well, it can't just be that kind of, we've got a woman on the track. Look how diverse we are. We've just done it to tick a box. It's got to be done right, which is the same with anything. Employ for the right job.
Look at the stick Lewis gets now from like the minority in Spain, the minority in other countries that don't get that diverseness that the
it's true.
Would you want to be an openly gay driver in Formula One? Would you want to be a woman in Formula One? Would you want to be any? Some of the stick Lewis gets, I'm amazed he wants to be in Formula One because I don't think I could do it.
Eastern European football, Italian football, some Spanish football. It's racism, isn't it? It's great, but I don't know. I find that crazy. I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't understand. We live in 2023. Whatever year you live in, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Real Madrid fans are booing and making monkey chants to their own player.
I think wherever you go, there's going to be funny folk. There's going to be haters. There's going to be people that are just not all there. They're idiots. Whatever sport.
Well, there's probably 1 in 3. I mean, we've got one on the podcast that ticks all them boxes. Idiot. What else? What else did you say? What did
United fan. I rest my case. Anyway, let's move on.
That was very deep.
That was very mature.
He was put deep jokes. Anyway,
one of the first 3 episodes of our podcast ever.
I think another reason that Tony's dead and this is Adam.
Jesus, that went deeper than that submarine near Titanic. Jeez.
Oh no, they haven't found them yet. That's no.
And we're praying. From straight to the apex, we're praying that they find them people. Moving on. FP1 abandoned because of CCTV. Safety first. Anybody else? Can you comment? What do you think?
Never, ever seen a race abandoned because they had problems with the closed circuit television cameras on the circuit.
Incredible. James, anything to add?
No, why would that happen? Why would that have an impact on the race? That's like saying, we're gonna hold the race off. That guy over there closed his curtains.
It's like, the CCTV of the circuit doesn't work. If only we had a load more cameras that could maybe replace them.
Yeah. If only television production studios here.
Did they forget? Like, we'll just use them cameras because they cover everything.
Just 1 minute. Let me just get my iPhone out. Well, let me just watch it on there.
No, it's not. It's why you drive. Can you just hold this phone up for me? Just.
Honestly, like, what?
Oh wait a minute. I've got that Sky Sports where you can look at each driver. I tell you what, you do, Lewis.
Tracker.
You do.
Yeah.
You do science. And
Just press
like that.
It was a bit
I
of
can't
a weird,
believe it.
It was a bit of a weird practice, wasn't it? Because, like, they had the rain, then it was extended, and then it was red flagged, and then it was cancelled. Like you say, it was a bit of a disjointed practice sessions, really.
Strange. They added 30 minutes to FP2, and in FP3, I've just got signs crashing horrifically on the first corner. Does anybody have anything else? Go on, James.
So, I think we'll touch on it in the second half in a minute. But yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about on signs, and I think the other thing we really need to talk about as well is this. Let me just get the terminology right. The unsportsmanlike behaviour bullshit.
Yes.
I think that's a massive point for us to touch on.
I mean,
We've
literally done the first half of the show. We haven't talked about qualifying yet. You said it's a real good race, so we've got that to talk about. I really don't think we're going to have time to do predictions, which is such a shame.
That's such a shame. We'll have to start with quali, rip through that, and then hit the race.
Okay.
I heard there's an unwritten rule that if predictions don't get discussed on the podcast directly after the race, all points are null and voided.
Bullshit.
That is written in my T's and C's from Andy.
Bullshit. We discussed the T and C's at the start of season 2, so we cannot have any movement.
Wrap it up for the first half, dickhead. I mean, Tony.
We'll see. We'll see you on the other side, guys. For quali, race, predictions. I have got a little quiz. We'll have to see if we've got time for it.
I don't think we'll have time, but I don't think me and James are going to turn up for part 2. So never mind.
Maybe. Right. Well, see you on the other side.
Bye.
Hi.
Hey, you. Yeah, you that's listening right now. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode of Straight to the Apex, the Formula 1 podcast from CookieCast. If you're enjoying this episode, why not like, share and subscribe? Whilst you're there, feel free to check out some of the other podcasts that CookieCast has to offer. If you like football, we've got a football podcast. NFL more your thing? Then the Laces Out podcast is for you. Maybe even a little bit of the wrestling. Just look for the Getting Over podcast on CookieCast. Maybe you want to listen to Andy's Darkest Timeline. It's there too. So, the F1 boys have probably got themselves a drink. It's time to get back to the action.
Me. Welcome back to the greatest podcast of all, and that is Straight to the Apex, Season 2, Episode 11. I'm your host, T-Dog, and I'm joined by Mark and James. Right into qualifying, which was eventful, rain-filled. So the timing of the tyres and when to come out was key. Q1, Joe, straight away, electrical problem, which nearly made me explode because he basically just completely poo-pooed it straight away. And Alonso was on a flying lap as well, which made me really sad.
Turned it off and turned it back on and it worked all right though.
Yeah.
I don't understand. He stopped, but literally as soon as he came out the pit lane, there was a problem. Then he slowed and stopped, which went to a red flag, but then he could get going again for some reason. So that was really strange and really, really, really annoying.
It was.
Then Gasly got caught up with Sainz parking his car in the middle of the road, which again was very, very annoying. And he kept doing it, and he did it last race. So he is getting I don't know. Is it just unfortunate that he is in that position? But why does it keep happening?
He keeps doing it. He's done it the last couple of races, like you said. I'm really starting to not like him as much because of he's doing it a lot. I mean, what was it? There was looking at his stats in that lap, and they were saying going that fast. If it wasn't the impeding, he would have been looking at P6.
Wow.
So it made a massive impact on him because obviously he didn't go on a fucking session.
Well, he paid for it, didn't he? He got a penalty. Q2, rain. Bottas missed the soft tyre window, so he obviously went out. Magnussen, Stroll, span, and he was very, very, very lucky to keep his car intact. I don't know how his front wing didn't break. Perez and Leclerc also got it wrong and did not get out. Albon, however, nailed it, and he made it out very quickly.
In a very, very updated Williams that his teammate doesn't have yet.
That is interesting. And he is looking very good, Albon, of late.
While we're on Albon, I will come back to my quick point then about some certain comments from our friend on the podcast, Mr. Christian Horner, about Alex Albon. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
James, did you see this?
He was very complimentary, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think I saw this.
He was quoted as saying, Albon is looking very strong. I watched as much as his race as I did of my own two cars. This is a you've hounded out of Red Bull for not being strong enough after what was half a season and possibly another season.
It's what Red Bull do, though, isn't it?
You said we're going to touch on Perez later, so we'll maybe talk about Albon later. But yeah, it's what Red Bull do. Yeah, it's weird. He's always playing a game, Christian Horner. He really is.
Well, Albon's washed his hands of Red Bull. He's very much a Williams driver. 100%. And I think him and Vowles have got some kind of thing going on at the minute, and it's a good thing. Long may it continue. Logan is struggling. Is he good enough? Question marks are being raised. That's why he's not getting the upgrades till Silverstone.
Well, there's rumours, isn't there, that Mick Schumacher might be going to Williams very soon.
Yep. Well, the Mac connections. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see why. Logan isn't doing much, is he? At all. And
he got caught in a season early, didn't he?
Yeah, he's still a rookie. Yeah, but he's sink or swim in Formula One, isn't it? And unfortunately, he's sinking.
True. Q3, Albon missed. Speaking of Albon, he did no time. Finished 10th. Piastri, though, may have had something to do with this qualifying because he crashed emphatically. And just before the red flag, Hülkenberg crossed the line and got second. Who was behind him? Alonso on a fastest lap. And then the red flag came. Now, that completely wrecked the last segment of qualifying because it rained. Nobody could get out. And when they did get out, it was too wet.
Red Bull timed it well again, though. Max likes to get out early, and he got out before the rain in Q3 and nailed it again. But what was Hülkenberg's penalty for a red flag infringement? Did he speed during the red flag? Is that why he got a penalty?
Yes. Right, okay. Yes. Which I woke up the next day very, very happy about. Anyway, moving on. The race. Anything to add? Qualifying. anymore.
No, I think you covered
Not
everything.
really.
Do you want to give the order? Top 10 order?
Well, if you really want, I mean, Verstappen, Hulkenberg got penalised, Alonso, Lewis, Russell, Ocon, Norris, Sainz, Piastri, Albon. But yeah, dry race day, the start, fantastic. Nobody got cleaned out on the first corner. Fantastic. Hulkenberg went backwards. And Magnussen nearly went into Perez. And Lewis did quite well at the start, which got me nervous.
The Magnussen incident, that was very close. Very close.
Very close. But I don't think anybody could have done anything about it. I think it was just
it was just one of them battles that them two were battling, and then Perez suddenly went across to set the corner, and Magnussen was absolutely flying.
And then Sargent got a critical message to pull in. Like, literally, like, if you do not stop, your car is going to explode into a million pieces type message. Like,
it did come across that urgent, didn't it? It's like, you stop now.
Yeah.
No.
We found a bomb on it. Stop now.
It's like,
out right now. We've just seen Chris Nolan. He's got his bloody IMAX video camera there. He's doing Oppenheimer 2.
Form the Armageddon team now. It's happening. It's happening right now.
He's coming with his drill team.
Everybody stay calm. It's happening.
The CCTV stopped working. Stop the car now. We can't see you.
Anyway, as we move on, Piastri on Hulkenberg. There seems to be a lot of, I don't know, the McLarens are coming back a bit. Norris is coming back a bit. Piastri, we'll get on to Norris in a minute, but lap 12, Russell. George Russell hit a curb and went absolutely flying into the wall and completely fucked his right rear. And I fucking jumped out my seat like England had just scored the fucking World Cup goal. What a donut.
He didn't even apologise to the team, did he?
No.
Just completely fucked it. I don't know how he carried on, to be honest, but he did, and then he carried on even more, and then retired. But holy shit, he flew off that curb.
Maybe he fell asleep during the race like you.
Maybe. I won't put it past him. Maybe there was a snake in his boot. There's no snakes in my boot. Or is there? Anyway, we'll leave that to imagination. Then everybody came in. Safety car. Alonso, Hamilton, very close in that pits. Very close.
Oh, yeah.
Did Alonso over-dramatise it?
Very.
At the time, it looked like I thought Hamilton's absolutely done here because it looked like an unsafe release. Other teams have been done the last few weeks. They're very strict on it. And then when it showed the replay, I just thought that there was almost like a pause and Alonso had time to back off. And you saw him grab the wheel and almost like just make a bit of a show of it.
I think that was as close as you can get. I don't think you can get any closer to a penalty. I think that was the edge.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that he didn't get given that penalty as well.
Yeah. I was really.
But I think that's why I say I think that's the very edge of getting away with it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Norris on Piastri, and then we move on. Lap 20, Albon, crushing it. Norris starts pulling his weight and passing people. Alonso then made his pass on Hamilton, which we've touched on already. These make upgrades Are they good enough to race with the likes of Aston Martin and Red Bull? We've been there. We've done that. Not just yet. Russell passed De Vries, but then we had a bit of a tussle between De Vries and K-Mag. He kind of Russell did a beautiful pass on both of them on 10-2. And then they got in a bit of a pickle and ended up going down the, the runoff. It was all kind of a bit embarrassing.
Amateur hour.
Say no more. Say no more. Albon defending like a beast. Then Russell retired because his left brake was very worn, which, again, everybody applauded.
What a shame, that.
Norris passes Bottas. But I'll carry on. Alpine wing loose.
Yeah.
But it's very loose, but it looks to me like it's on. Like, I don't understand.
It doesn't.
What do you think?
It doesn't look safe, does it, at all? I mean, flexible
like
wings,
it's hanging on.
Wings, but yeah, that looks like it's not been bolted on properly.
I was expecting it to come off, bounce, and probably take Norris out clean.
Yeah.
But,
well,
that's pretty standard. It's always like that. But if that's always the same, then that's fucking shite.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's not right. There's some weird there.
If that happens all the time, how the hell are you maintaining downforce?
Yeah.
Interesting. Max wins. Albon has his best finish. And Stroll beats Bottas on the line for ninth. But after the race, Norris gets penalised. Unsportsmanlike behaviour. Which caused a bit of a stare. What are your opinions on it?
Well, it was penalised before. It'd already been given the 5-second penalty, but they were told to be added on at the end of the race. But they added it on when there was like 2 laps to go. And even the commentators went, that's not right, that. But yeah, I don't like the term unsportsmanlike behaviour. I mean, he is of all the drivers, he is probably one of the drivers you would not expect to hear that link to. And at the same time, I've never heard that term used before, and it was solely because he slowed down. You know, I'm dumbing it down by saying, "Oh, it's only because he slowed down." You know, yes, he caused some impeding and stuff like that just to aid a double stack for him and Piastri, but. Using the term, I mean, that really upset Norris. That
they didn't know how to categorise it, did they? They didn't know, and that's why they said the only category they could put it in was unsportsmanlike behaviour. But how many times has Mayor done this?
I'm okay, guys. I haven't been.
You're okay. You're not being savaged.
Let me just discipline my dogs for a second, so just bear with me. Carry on with your point.
Okay. My point is, how many times has Merck done this in other seasons, double stacking? How many times has Red Bull done it? How many times has every team done it and nothing's been done? And then they make an example of Norris and McLaren.
But at the same time, how many times have teams or drivers been penalised and they've actually said you are driving? What was it? It wasn't like you driving too slow, driving at an unnecessary speed.
Yeah, unnecessarily dangerous or where did it? Yeah, it's weird. It was weird.
But then it was just this one. It's like, oh yeah, it's unsportsmanlike.
Yeah,
it's like
I did feel sorry for Lando because out of the British drivers, he is my second favourite because George Russell is definitely George Russell is behind some non-British drivers, if I'm brutally honest. And that's my British driver list. But,
Wow.
yeah, I felt sorry for Norris. I really did.
I think he's been a bit naughty, but I think it comes down to what you said, Mark. How can they class it? And I think they've classed it like that to give him the penalty. But it's kind of come off a bit that's not right, is it? I mean, it's not like it's crashed on purpose or really.
Every team does it. If your cars are together, what are you meant to do? It's dangerous in the pitch. You're going to slow down a little bit. Yeah, they need to look at that rule. Yeah, very harsh.
I think moving on from that, another big takeaway from the race is Sergio Perez. What is going on with that guy? Another not so good race, another poor qualifying. I mean, Monaco, Q1, 20th. Spain, 11th out in Q2. To this weekend, 12th. His last pole was Miami.
Horner said his confidence is gone. I'm going to say that we called this on the podcast and said he wouldn't be allowed to challenge Max for the title.
Well, that's a conspiracy.
But he did it last year.
You're not suggesting that Red Bull do everything above board, are you?
Oh, what an idiot. This happened last year.
I was
in
going
the
to
title
say,
fight, and he went missing.
There was contention, and then all of a sudden, shit happened to Perez. It happened this year, didn't it? Because we even said Perez has done really well, and in our predictions, we all said there is going to be some Red Bull sabotage in the next race, and then
That's a conspiracy.
There seems to be a lot of interesting data behind it, though. It's not just that kind of, we're all sitting here wearing tinfoil hats or saying there's a giant spaghetti monster who wears a colander for a helmet as some kind of religion bullshit or anything else like that. There is a lot of genuine data. You look at it all. Perez was up for contention. He was level for the championship, and then all of a sudden, car turned to shit. Same things happened this year, and it's just it does raise eyebrows.
Don't get me wrong. I think we've said this before. Over a season, if you was to pick your perfect drivers or your strong drivers, we said before, Perez is not one over a season to be consistent enough to ever be a world champion, ever. Like we've said about Leclerc, like we've said about Sainz. However, as they use for the tyres, the dropping off the edge of the cliff, performance-wise, that Perez has gone through this year and last year, when he was in title contention, and then all of a sudden, he's gone to shit. He's not that bad a driver. How can it? Yeah, there's something in it. To me, there's.
At the same time, yes, he is not the same driver as Max. He isn't. Max is in a completely different league altogether. But it's the same car.
Yep. Yeah.
Granted, there should be a difference between the two. Not like that, though, surely.
Canada is a track for overtaking. Yep. Normally you get quite a lot of overtakes. You've got, it's slow corners, and then traction out of them corners onto long straights, and then another chicane. They are Red Bull's strengths. So considering that, where did Perez start? He started 12th on the grid. He should have been within the top 5 in 3 or 4 laps. In that car, if it was the other way around, Max would have been up to Alonso, Hamilton, and Russell within 4 or 5 laps easily. So like Jim said, that car, regardless of the driver, should literally blitz the field. Because we all said that Red Bull aren't pushing. When they need to push, like Max, when he was at the back of the grid, he pushed, he got up. But Perez didn't at a track that is easily to overtake at.
really don't know.
You know what?
I really don't know.
I bet you if the points difference in the constructors table wasn't the way they are, Perez would have had different settings. It'd have been like, right, Perez plus 10. You know, take it from 80% to 80%. Let's get them points up.
All I'm going to say is we haven't seen Josh Verstappen on camera for the last few races that Perez has been struggling.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Perez,
but it's gone from he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. Like, he's winning races. He's going to be like, he's challenging Max. Like, oh, can he do that? Is he allowed to do that? And then now it's like, oh, he's not good enough. Like, he's letting the team down. What's going on with him? Should he even be at Red Bull? Is he a good number 2 driver? Like, people are questioning him. I think there's like we've already started at the start of this little segment, we've touched, I think, on the reason, and we've said it before. There's something going on at Red Bull that we don't know about, and I think one of those things is pressure. You're one-on-one with Max, the golden boy, the poster boy for Red Bull. And I think maybe some things have been done, some things have been said, the pressure's set in a bit, the criticism has started, and now is dwindling a little bit, and now is like not doing very good.
I will say this: if Max Verstappen was your teammate, and like I say, credit where credit's due, the kid is relentless. He's like Thanos. He's inevitable. He really is. Because, you know, if he's got a semi-decent car, he will get in that car, and you look at his lap time. You must sit there as a teammate sometimes, look at his lap time and go, "How has he done that?"
Yeah, but even absolutely. And then even if you're like doing as well as him or a little bit better, people in that team are gonna scrutinize you even more. Like, they're gonna put even more pressure on you, aren't they?
It's a reason why it's been a bit of a revolving door.
Yes, exactly. Very good point.
Albon,
very good point.
Ricardo, Kvyat.
You can be a number 2 driver, but it's different being a number 2 driver to Max Verstappen in a Red Bull.
And his dad.
Yeah.
That's different altogether. And that hasn't been in F1 before.
Well, it has. Michael Schumacher. No one could be his teammate. But then Rubens Barrichello bent over and was just happy with the number 2. So they just let him pass. Like Hamilton, Nico Rosberg couldn't cope with him. And he went through a year of hell to be able to match Lewis and beat him. And he couldn't do it anymore. He folded. He said, "I can't do this every year. I just can't." It consumes his life. Yeah, exactly. And like it must be hard being Max's teammate. But equally, I think Red Bull turn it on and off when they want. Like, that's just not Perez under pressure, because there's a pattern emerging every season now with him and Red Bull. As soon as he's near and Max is under a bit of pressure, it's like they pull a plug, and like James said, they drop 20 or 30% in that side of the garage.
Well, it's like Tony touched on earlier as well, though, wasn't it? Two laps left of the race. Perez has struggled the entire race. They take him in, they put softs on, and he pinches fastest lap.
Different car, yeah.
Out of nowhere. Your car being able to fucking do that in the other fucking 69 laps. And then in that last lap, boom. Yeah, right. It's because the settings being fucking changed.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. So yeah, Max wins, and it was very Max, Alonso, Lewis, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez up from 12th, got 6th, Albon, Ocon, Stroll, Bottas, Piastri, Gasly, Norris, Yuki, Nico, Joe, Magnussen, De Vries, Russell, and Sargent.
That was Red Bull's
That's how-
100th win as well.
100th win, and they like to go on about that quite a lot in the aftermath and what. And new Adrian was on the podium as well, which you don't really see.
No.
But yeah, anything else to add to the race or the weekend in general?
What did you think to Leclerc damaging his plank on the way to the grid? They had his car up on stands on the grid, and he'd hit the curb, and he'd damaged the plank, and he'd basically nearly ripped it off, so they had to replace it. But I know you said you wanted to talk about Sainz. So Ferrari, are they, again, we've touched on it before, are them too good enough?
Well, they had a bit of a strange race. They kind of held in there, didn't they? Different strategy, and it kind of paid off towards the end, didn't it? Ferrari, I think I nailed it on the last podcast. The Ferrari, the car's not quick enough. The drivers aren't of a caliber to win and keep winning. Yeah, the strategists got it right today. That's once in a blue moon. Will they get it right next week and the week after and the week after? No, they won't. I can say that now from my chest, 1,000%. They won't.
You know what? This is what I've got to say. I think it's too hard to say what caliber of driver they are. I think if there was in a different car, you might see a different performance from them.
Right.
But yeah, the issue with Ferrari is the strategists, and even the commentators said so on the kind of the when they said, "Oh, should we do Plan A, Plan B?" and the drivers just went, "No, we'll stick with Plan A." And the commentators went, "They are the only drivers on that track that challenge the strategists, or even the strategists ask them if they think it's the right idea."
Yeah, they do. The race engineer always asks them a question. Always.
Yeah. Do you reckon your tyres? No, keep me off another 5. Okay,
yeah.
But then
It
that
should just
sends
be-
questions, doesn't it? Don't you think? Oh,
Yeah.
so what does that mean then? So what we're going to do after the next 5 laps? Where we're going to go after that? Are we changing the plan? What we're going to do? You're waiting for the next message. Surely you're not driving to your 100% because you're thinking, well, what's the next step?
Well, you've got doubt and you've got no confidence, have you? So, like you say, you're second guessing everything. And in interchangeable conditions, or when you are a green track and you need your team that have this big picture, then yeah, you're right. They're not a team, are they? They're kind of questioning each other's judgment.
Yeah, yeah. It was just one. They're just lucky this weekend. I don't think I can't see him doing anything else.
No.
Anything else?
No. On that note, we'll end the podcast. Yeah.
Well, we can, or we can do predictions and a quiz. What do you want to go first?
Well, let's do the predictions because we'll have Austria's to give as well.
Yeah, it's gonna take you 8 minutes to do yours anyway, Tony. So that'll
Exactly.
I know I've got mine.
We might have to save. We might have to save the quiz, but get this bit out. Get this bit out of the way.
James, give us the predictions, please.
Current standings are as they are. So, for boys, I had 16. I predicted Max, Hamilton, and Perez. Obviously, I got Max, safe bet, so I got 19 points. Mark, you had 15 points. You also went Max, Hamilton, Perez, only getting you 3 points, giving you 18 points. Moving on to the girls. All right, yeah, we'll go to it. So yeah, Tony actually had Max, Alonso, and Hamilton. I can't remember if this is your third or fourth triple whammy. So
Let
yeah,
me
you've
find
got
out. One.
Oh, God, you've
I think
tallied
this
them
is the
up.
third. I think this is the third. It's a record-breaking weekend for Red Bull, but I think it is for the podcast as well.
Yeah, I've got to. No, I think I got 3 last year at least. So you're either evens or you're different. But yeah, you had Max, Alonso, Hamilton taking you from 17 points to 24. What a dick.
I've got different points to you. I think I may be wrong. So after the Spanish race,
Oh, yes, I apologise. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one. So, Mark, you are on, if I've got this right now, 21 points.
yeah,
I am on 22.
yeah,
Tony is on 27.
yeah.
Bloody hell.
My apologies.
This is incredible.
When it comes to the other half, the better half, the significant others, whatever you want to call them, the bosses. Hi, Beth.
Beth.
She's away.
Hi, Charlie.
She'll
Hi,
see
Max.
us.
So Katie had 6 points. She went Leclerc, Hamilton, Alonso because she refuses to predict Max, so she's got 6 points still.
Yeah.
Charlie went Gasly, Perez, Hamilton also because she refuses to fucking bet on Max. So she's gone from 9 points to 10. And Beth, who is smart enough to take the safe bet because she doesn't want the forfeit, had Max, Perez, and Hamilton. So she actually got 4 additional points, going from 14 to 18. So, first goes first.
Yeah. Beth's 3 points behind you, Mark. How does that feel?
That she knows a lot more about F1 than you, and you just got lucky.
I'm on 27. I'm crushing it at the minute.
I mean, again, I'm just going to refer back to where was it, Tony? And right, so Miami race 7. You was on 17, James on 13, me on 12, and then the next race because you got cocky, and then all of a sudden Monaco it was 17, 16, 15. Granted, you've built a bit of a gap again, but you're on a bit of a jammy streak lately. So let's see.
Right. Okay. Well, my prediction for the next
Your jammy
race,
predictions are,
which is Austria, the Rolex Australian Grand Prix from Spielberg in the Red Bull Ring, is Max to win. Don't copy, guys. Don't copy from me. Alonso second. And I believe in a certain gentleman from last year. We are going to give him his podium, which he deserved last year. And I picked him last year, but was disgracefully taken out. So I'm going to go Perez third.
don't believe it.
And that's the same pick that you picked last week as well. They can't let Perez have a shit race at the home race. They've got to think about the Constructors' Championship.
Mark's gone the same, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm debating whether to change it.
Yeah.
I've got exactly the same Max, Alonso, Perez. And I had, at first, I had Max, Perez, and Alonso. And then I thought, no, Perez won't be second. I am going to scratch Perez off and put Hamilton.
Oh, what a...
So I'm going to go Max, Alonso, Hamilton. I can't have the same as you. Can't. I may regret this, but yeah, Max, Alonso, Hamilton.
I did have... Now, I scratched this off before you'd even said it. I did actually have Max, Alonso, Hamilton. I then changed it to Max, Hamilton, Alonso.
Wait, Max, Hamilton, Alonso. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how about the ladies?
Beth hasn't even given me hers, so.
Is she live? Is she available? Do you want
She's not. She's away at the minute. She's away.
Crap. Well, you'll have to let us know off air then.
I'll let you know. Is that okay if I let you know off the air?
Yeah, as long as it's before the race weekend. So Katie's is, again, she will not mention Max. So she has gone Luis Alonso Perez.
Ooh. I like that. I like that. I like that.
Charlie?
Charlie is gone. Ocon. I don't get it. It's like, oh, I don't want to vote him because I don't like him. I don't like him, but I still put him in. 3 easy points.
Yeah.
Ocon for the win, Hamilton second, and Alonso third.
My only concern is Austria is. Who did she say third? Sorry.
Alonso.
My only concern is it's a Red Bull circuit. Like you say, they'll want Perez to do well. I just don't think his confidence is there.
No.
But if Tony's nailed it, I will be very annoyed that I've changed my mind.
It's a short circuit.
Yep.
So there's a lot of laps.
Not a power circuit. Not a power circuit at all. Old school.
And Lewis said the Merc is crap in the slower corners.
It is. Yeah.
So is there slower corners? I think there is. I'm sure there is a few.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So
be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, we'll have to leave the quiz. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time in a couple of weeks to review the Austrian GP. I'm your host, T-Dog, in association with CookieCast, with Mark and James. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
See you soon, guys.
So there you go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another race gone. Another race in the bag. Another race to come. Amazing stuff. Big thank you for watching. Big thank you for listening. Big thank you for being a part of the podcast. If you want to be more of a part of the podcast, you can like, share, subscribe, comment, leave reviews. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got ways for you to get in touch with us. Open lines of communication, people. Use them. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to this episode of CookieCast.